इस पैसा को नहीं करना है. Very good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon, Likit.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Likit is here. Jyotsna, Nukul, Neha. Just make sure our readability is good. Prerit is here. Good. So, you see these this week, as per the schedule, you see. Okay, wait, some background noise. Wait. Our lecture is being played. Wait. Pause. Pause. Okay, good. Okay. So, very good afternoon. So, for meteorology, of course, the what do we say? The continuation is happening with the same series of lectures. The last lecture, that is, I think, revision of temperature. So this will help us track in one set completely. So I was thinking, that for some of y'all, it's been some time before when you had done it. And of course, now we should, make sure that if we are continuing, of course, those topics should be well read and well versed, which I know you are well versed. Even if not, then you'll have some time to revise and get done with it. Students who have not done it even once, you just let me know after the lecture. I'll give you a task to carry on with that also. Parallelly, or a very strategic task, as in you'll be able to handle everything individually also. I'll make sure we do that. So Said, I would want you to, although we have our plan for RT right now, but I was thinking for you we have to also talk about learning other subjects. But yeah, we wanted to get RT first, so I understand. That's why I was having that discussion with you. Prerit, for you, I'll guide you how to go about it. But Likit, Nukul, Jyotsna, for us, we have to say that now that we are ready to give papers, we have our computer numbers. So we should be like, okay, somebody is out. Who's not there? So Usaid, yeah. So we have to be now understanding, have this understanding right now that going ahead for metrology, we should be trying to, finish it ASAP with good quality and good preparation so that we can try to give the papers as soon as we can, at least for metrology. The next attempt should be the attempt we need to clear for metrology. Navigation, depending upon each one of y'all, we can decide whether you want to go for the regular attempt, March, April. That is something that I think we all should target. But somebody who is able to give metrology in the Feb on demand and you're willing to do that, you can do that also, because I think it can be done quite before that only, completion of metrology. Now that I have taking it on priority. Comparing it with the other subjects, I think y'all are well versed with RT, a little bit of brush up, and final preparation is to be done. So for that, I have a plan, but this week I want us to focus completely on Met and Nav. Okay, so my priority is on you right now, especially November Kilo Charlie, Yankee Zulu, Juliet Yankee Oscar, to ensure that we, on a daily basis, we are well versed with things so that we now get our results. Simple as that. So, one time success is what we want. Okay, so we're not going to leave any stone unturned, and I'm going to make sure that you're not doing things on your own, neither RT nor MET. What about regs? So Rex, I have a plan, but I don't want to put extra burden on you, because of which it could happen that again we'll find ourselves in that situation where we might not be ready even for one or two successes, and we might lose out on that. So right now my plan is nicely finish studying metrology at full flow. So this week, next week, and probably one more week. So end of January, I think I'm targeting. So you always know it's very fluidic. It could change. It could go here and there. With respect to today's time, I'm saying for y'all, we should be well versed, so that I think that you'll still have time to decide to fill form for your exam in February itself, because the dates are till 5th February. So we'll keep that option open right now, not a compulsion. You can decide to give all papers in the regular attempt also. NAV definitely, I think, studied in a nice way. Although everything is complete, still I would want to, there are a few more topics I would want you all to learn in with me live in class. That would be the VOR things and a few more points that we have not yet completely covered. So that will ensure that you get a minimum of 80 marks or 75 minimum on any bad day. That is the target. For navigation, we have good results from the past session. RT, we do not have a lot of good results, but it's okay. It's not anybody's fault, we would say. So the thing is, have this point of view right now that now we have to first make sure we learn all concepts in MET. This week we are dedicating to MET and NAV. Next week, of course, also we'll be continuing with MET, and hopefully we will not have much workload of NAV, of live lectures. If there is, then we'll segregate in a way that we could also do it. So couple of weeks, MET and NAV nicely focused completely on the verge of, finishing it. And then I think, because we don't have any RT exams coming in right now in coming days, is why I'm saying that we could do that. Students who are giving RT in February, just message me. I think Jyotsna or anyone who's giving in February, Usaid is giving in February. So you drop me a message so that I am aware and I could just do those extra sessions wherever. And when I'm scheduling the next weekly lecture, I do it in a way that, everything is nicely done. So that way we can finalize whether we should put importance more on RT or MET. And if RT, then make sure we clear RT, and then MET can be given along with a regular attempt. The strategy is this, that um, simultaneously, if we can cover first these two topics, RT anyway, we have had good training. We just need practice and brushing up. It'll not take much time. Nav also only a few things. It's just MET that I think is majorly remaining to cover a few topics, which I really want to cover. I want you all to do it with me. Those are complicated topics. So overall, what I'm trying to say is, then what we could do is focus on regs nicely, not take burden of that, because regs will require you a lot of thinking and mental patience, which I want you all to first put on MET and NAV right now, and then RT if you're giving RT in this season. That way. So this is the strategy here. Try to think about it, see whether you like it or not. If you like it, great. I have this strategy, you remember it. And if you're not happy with it, then tell me. We'll work out something mutually, individually, Nakul, Jyotsna, Likith, and we'll work on that, modify. But nobody else is on my radar on priority other than y'all right now. So whatever you need, you let me know. And we are going to do it nicely. Knowledge, and make sure now finally this phase of ground studies at a good level is over for y'all. And how will we know it's over for y'all? When you'll pass, 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 pass. So we need 4 passes. RT, Rex, MET, and NAV. In sequence, some of y'all it could be RT, MET, and NAV. Some of y'all it could be MET, RT, and NAV. Some of y'all it could be MET, NAV, Regs, RT, like that. So that would be the sequence individually. I hope you've got an idea. Just make a rough note of it in your notes only. Write the date so that you know this is my plan. Every day look at this plan so that you know you get the confidence. It's every day I'm reaching there. And where am I reaching? I'm reaching towards success now. I'm confident I'll pass. Don't worry about that. So that should be the confidence. So it's over for me. The hard phase is over. I put in my hard work, I put in my dedication. Now this is my final prep session. I'm going to teach you methodology in that way only, where in live in class also is just like a very good, thorough, in-depth, but somewhat synonym to your final prep only. So that, it's good. You eventually learn also, you remember also, and you pass and you learn, study, and clear all these exams. So this is what I'm saying for y'all. If you have any things to share, message me. Okay. Resh, Prerit, Usad, Neha, and I'm not sure who else is there. If you are resuming or continuing, today's topic is very independent, so don't worry about it. It's a very important topic which I want to cover now because it tends to be taken for granted towards the end. Although in all our syllabus and books is always given towards the end. So we are not going to do that. And we're going to use a strategy wherein, through this topic, we well verse or introduce ourselves with a few more systems that we're going to learn in depth in coming days. All right. So as usual, when we start something, we start slow, basic, comfortably enjoying, get used to the pace, get used to the topic, let everything come back to us, structure of atmosphere, what do we say? Pressure, temperature, humidity. Now, humidity falls under thermodynamics actually, because variation is with respect to the flow of temperature. So don't be scared thinking, sir, I didn't do thermodynamics. If you have done humidity, it means you have done thermodynamics of atmosphere. What we need to start with when it comes to atmosphere from now on, from this lecture onwards, generally you would think that the wind, stability, and clouds, and so many things. Of course, they are not difficult. Once you visualize and understand them, it becomes easy. What is difficult is to memorize those different elements, their names, because they are new to us. So we don't really have a big base on those things. So we going ahead, the whole plan is to master those basic elements because all these masses and fronts and this and that, everything is associated with somewhere pressure movement from high to low, temperature variation, and then a few phenomena like rain, ice, hail that comes under precipitation, and then things that impact the visibility. Obscursion is the word that we use there. That's it. So today, what we're going to start is very nice. Today, we're just going to read a part of it. Okay, we cannot do a topic like this at stretch. It could go, but we have a good strategy to do it. So I'm going to give you a lot of information that I would want you to gather in your notes as a cheat sheet with what we're going to learn today. You must have seen the topic. It's METAR. And if you can crack METAR, then other information or other types of reports with respect to information about the aerodrome weather given to you before your flight, before your arrival, becomes easy to crack or easy to decipher. Why do we call decipher or crack right now? Because for us, it looks like a puzzle. But with practice, as a professional student and a pilot, it would become just like ABCD for you. Just like navigation, it's direction, pressure, it's Q codes, and something like that. Just coming back to pressure, make sure that you have mastered pressure. If not, let me know. I'll have special sessions just to discuss pressure related topics because sometimes I've seen that even after learning and doing everything, if you have had gap, you have confusions between QFE, QNE, QNH, and all those things. That is where we can score maximum marks. And exams like meteorology, every question carries 2 marks. So one mistake will cost us 2 marks. Out of 50 questions, we need 35 right questions. So the margin of error is less. So even though you would have studied, if there are chances that the questions would be such that unknowingly you'll make a mistake. So we need to work around that also. Just learning and doing syllabuses will not be enough for us now. We'll have to make sure that we twist and twist and twist certain questions and still see if you are able to answer those. So if you could reach up to that point in navigation, it's not going to take much time. But if you could reach individually to that point for meteorology, navigation for meteorology, that is the best then for us. Any questions before we start? Nukul, how much have you done? Met, have you revised? Likit, have you revised?
Yes, sir.
Good, good, good. Likith, how about you?
Yes, sir. Four chapters.
Jyotsna, for you it will be a couple of things. For you it will be revision also. For you it will be learning a few more things also. What could happen with you is some uh, contradictions. If that happen, clarify. Live in class is good, post class is good, whatever you feel like, whatever it is. Be alert, but have a lot of focus, nothing else. Don't think I've done it, so is it a waste of my time? No. I'll say you've done it, you must have read it, but do it with me also. It could be a final revision for you live in class only. Like that. Good, right? We'll enjoy this. We need it for knowledge, nothing else. With knowledge will come paper clearance, of course, that will happen. So, Neha and Prerit, for you, Prerit, definitely for you, it's a first Met class. So, good for you to start with this topic today. Although the series and numbering of the lecture is something else, you focus on this lecture for now and master this topic. Write down the lecture name for your reference because in future you might need to revise or restudy again. So you will need an access to the same lecture, right? So you don't be in two minds, Prerit, thinking, oh, what am I doing here? Or I should start from scratch and all. That is old school now. We are very smart, we are very wise, and that's how we are acting ahead. Neha, the same applies to you also. Okay. Usaid, the same applies to you also. Very happy to see you live in class. So let me know what are your thoughts. Anybody has any issues or points? Feel free to discuss. This is your class. All good? No questions, huh? So we are going to do METAR possibly in two parts. Students, whenever I'm accessing the phone here, don't think I'm doing any personal chat, okay? Probably I'm getting some notes, or probably I'm just chatting with one or two students who are just joining or sending links, or maybe just talking to one of y'all also. It's all 100% focus is in class only, okay? I will never be distracted. Don't worry, okay? I'm just saying, you should not feel like, अरे तो क्या है ध्यान ही नहीं दे रहे मोबाइल में देख रहे हैं and all. In a class, I would not do that. And I'm sure as a student, you would also not do that. If you're checking your phone or anything, I'm hoping you would only do it for family emergencies, maybe some work related thing or studies. Simple. Like I give you excuses. For me, this is work only. Sometimes I miss out on family emergencies also. I don't realize I'm so involved. I'm like, somebody tells me you're getting a call or something. I'm like, and I don't realize, oh, I can just give a breather to everyone and go and attend it, right? I mean, we should have that flexibility right now that we are not in a cockpit. There we might not get the flexibility. So sometimes you're so involved that it's like, okay. So, Jyotsna, you can text me also. I have a question for you. Uh, what are the ways? This is an open question. Think about it. Nobody knows this. Jyotsna could know it because she has done some reading, a lot of reading on her own. Others, I'm not expecting you all to know. So it's an open question. Anyone who is continuing from lecture 14 right now, it's an open question. How do you get weather information? I'll tell you why do you need weather information. The best condition to fly our aircraft is a condition where you could say that you could comfortably walk or comfortably play a game of cricket or football. Something that you'd enjoy going on an outing with your friends, family, alone. Basically, what is a good weather for any person is also a good weather for us in aviation. All right. But the problem is, I can still continue with my outing outside on a hill station in a foggy area if I'm aware about the areas, if I have warning signs that, railings and all, so that they prevent me from falling off the edge. If I don't have those railings and all, and if I have fog, something that is like a smoke, right, then I might just slip and God knows what will happen to me. Then it becomes risky, even though I'm going out on an outing in a hill station where fog can happen. That risk that I could face anywhere, what could be the other risk that I would face? It could be during driving, cycling, biking. I can see the road straight ahead. Good. If I close my eyes, is it good even if the weather is clean and I can see the road? No. But what if I can see everything from my side is fine, but there's a lot of fog? Again, same thing, nothing else. Fog, something like smoke. What is fog and all? You will learn. How does it happen? How does fog get generated? So that is the science behind it that you have to study. But let's say the smoky thing called fog is there. What will happen if you drive in fog and you cannot see more than 5 meters or 10 meters? Don't know if there is a turn. You don't know if there is a man. You don't know if there is a car. You could meet accidents. Incidences could happen. There is risk. So, what to do? Can we reduce fog? Not really. So, what do we do? So, maybe everybody on the highway where I'm riding the car, driving the car in a fog, will turn on all their lights, parking lights, go slow, 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 slow. Everyone will be slow, 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 slow. Safe. Then we all can say we are safe for some time. But accidents do happen also. In aviation, what happens? Visibility is not that big an issue when you're doing IFR, instrument flight. Still, fog is not the only limiting factor in that case. Somebody who's just learning to fly and doing their solo, they will not be flying IFR unless they have done a lot of VFR. For them, fog will not be good. Why? Because they might not be able to see the runway. They might not be able to see the visual references. Fog is just one example. There are many such phenomena in the nature that can impact my safe flight with respect to VFR. But are my weather conditions only going to impact this basic flying? No. Certain weather conditions can also impact my instrument flying. What are those? It could be thunderstorms. A storm so strong in nature that it could uproot trees, it could uproot the roofs of the houses, it could just, make cars fly in the air, cyclones, hurricanes, severe rain could have some sort of negative impact. What is the point of rain that reaches that it can have? Does it have or not any negative impact? So there are two ways I could be hampered by the weather. One is visibility. Second is the ability of a plane to stay straight and level in air like this. So when does my airplane stay straight and level in air? When I have good weather, in simple terms. So what is good weather is generally given to you in your IFR and VFR rules. This is the visibility, this is the cloud height. Two things are always there. The cloud height should be minimum this much. So what is that cloud height or cloud ceiling? Why do we talk about the cloud? So that's something that we'll learn. Second thing, visibility can be of two types. One visibility would be a normal visibility followed all across the aerodrome. That is visibility. It is generally measured in thousands or hundreds of meters. It could be 500 meter, 1000 meter, 1500 meter, 2000 meter. What does it mean? It means you be anywhere in the vicinity of the aerodrome. You can see clearly with your own eyes up to 2000 meters, up to 500 meter. That is visibility. The second type of visibility that generally comes is RVR, runway visual range. RVR and visibility are the same, but they are measured in two different places. Visibility generally is the aerodrome visibility. There are two types. One of those is prevailing visibility. Okay. And the RVR is the visibility measured at the runway or a specific point on the runway. The name itself says runway visual range. Students, you don't have to wait for me to write things on the whiteboard. Sometimes a few things you can make quick notes, quick notes. First, let me give you the lecture reference. What's the lecture reference? You must have seen it. In that lecture reference, you must have seen it. Is it 1415?
So 1-4.
Lecture reference continuation L14 C22. Okay, good. So RVR is something where generally, now these are key terms, okay? Understand, students, questions come from these points only. I'm making it very comfortable for you right now. It has to be very comfortable. Otherwise, going ahead after temperature in meteorology could seem like rocket science. Okay, but it is not. It's very simple. It's something that we experience every day. RVR, I would say, is the visibility where you can actually see the markings on the runway for how far. Again, measured in meters only 800 meters, 1500 meters, 5000 meters, 10,000 meters. 10,000 meter generally is 10 kilometers. So, visibility generally is measured up to 10 kilometers only for aviation purposes. Anything above that, we use a code that visibility is good enough. When visibility is less, what is that least factor in visibility? It's 1500 meters. Okay. Generally, your VFR rules tell you that you need to have a visibility of 5000 meters, 5 kilometers. But you can take special VFR. Students, just make a note of it. I think many of you all already know it. Those who don't know it, whatever you understand, don't understand, make a note right now. Okay. Things in parking lot, things not in parking lot. Let's listen and understand. So this visibility, RVR, generally you can say is the visibility measured at the threshold of the runway. Runway threshold is that point from where we can see the actual runway starts. Generally, it's one of the edges. It's not exactly the edge where the concrete or the pavement ends, but one of the markings where you see parallel bars. Similar to this, this here you cannot see, right? I'm not sure if you can see. So these will mark your beginning of the threshold at the bottom. Although the pavement could be huge, but generally there will be a line to mark threshold. So there will be two types of visibilities. Okay. Cloud height and the amount of clouds is generally we use to measure so that we can determine if there is any obstruction, then at what altitude is the obstruction in terms of clouds. Clouds would clouds would definitely impact my visibility. Plus, clouds could, surprise me also at sometimes, depending upon what type of cloud it is. The only type of clouds that are a major concern for me to decide whether I have to fly or not would be clouds called as CV clouds. Okay. Cumulonimbus clouds. CB clouds, you could say one of the most deadliest of all clouds. So what you see in monsoon, the big, dark grayish or blackish clouds, they are the CB clouds. Although there are a wide variety of clouds, CB cloud is the one that we have to be really aware of and be really, avoid it if possible is what it is, depending upon the intensity and all, because those CV clouds will only give you all the different types of rains and not just rains, but probably hailstones also. Now, hail or hailstones is something, it's like basically solid rain, you could say, it's like ice cubes, like not cubes, but like stones, stone pellets. It could actually cause a structural damage, it could do a lot of damage to us, to the aircraft when we are flying. But those are not the only two elements now, not the visibility and not these parameters that could affect the straight and level flight. What are the other parameters that would affect the straight and level flight? Winds, strong winds, changing winds. If I have one set of wind in a one particular time of the day, let's say the wind is coming from here, and if I have this runway only, then depending upon which side I'm getting more of a headwind component, I can choose that side of the runway and take off. If this is the wind from here, If this is the wind from here, then it is, you can always logically, you can take a center line. Anything coming from here could be considered in the lines of headwind. Anything coming from back could be considered in lines of tailwinds. Generally, takeoff landing should be done in headwinds. We prefer that. Everybody would prefer that. So let's say this is the runway right now. Aligned with me, I'm the pilot, aligned with the runway, ready to go like this. Okay. What if I'm getting a crosswind like this crosswind? So the winds will be measured. You will learn winds also coming ahead with respect to the magnetic direction from where they are coming. Let's say this is north. If I say the wind is coming from this angle, approximately, I'll say the wind is coming from 4-5 degrees. This is 4-5, 0-4-5, 0-9 at 0. Reverse is 1-8-0. This is 2-7-0. Okay. Many of us already know this, right? Students who don't know, you learn it. So the wind coming from 0-4-5, and I only have one runway, which can give me two possibilities of departure. Okay. One would be flying in this direction, north. Other would be reciprocal direction, south. Which one would I choose where I'm getting more of a headwind component? So this is exactly not headwind, but it is in the lines of headwinds, I would say. So if only I have one runway, I don't have cross runways. That's why most of the airports have cross runways. So if I would have had a cross runway here like this, one more, then this crosswind that I have of 0-4-5 degrees would have been a headwind for this cross runway. And I would have diverted all my departing aircraft to go with this cross runway only. So at any given point in time, the air traffic controllers will have at least 2 or 4 options to choose from for a good departure, for a good takeoff. That is our most important priority when we talk about aviation meteorological information needed for the pilots. METAR is a short code for the most basic type of reports that has to be requested or provided, requested by the pilot from the relevant people, relevant teams, or by the teams given to the pilot, so that the pilot can easily, in a very small text like a message thing, small limited characters, can understand all these elements of the weather, including runway news also, visibility, RVR, whether there is rain, CB, thunderstorm, whatever. A lot of things are there. We're just discussing a few things right now to, understand the logic behind it. So that the pilot can see, and that the pilot can be the final person to decide, okay, what I'm doing is right as per the report. What I'm being advised is right as per the report. So you need to have that knowledge. ATC will tell you, yo, go take departure from this runway. If you don't have the weather report, how will you know it's the right thing to do? Because you are the final authority. If you remember regulations, or in regulations, the first thing you learn, the PIC is the final authority to decide anything about the aircraft. So it becomes important for us to know which are these various methods from which we get the aerodrome weather information or aviation meteorological information, whatever the case is. METAR is the most basic type of report that will have all the necessary info that we need. Plus, there are a few more special type of reports that we will come across. Definitely, these questions can or cannot come in the exam. That is subjective, but understanding is very important, because it's not just for meteorology students. Even for your RT exams, some of you all will be asked these questions. And generally in RT syllabus, people generally don't have the time to, learn this much in depth about how to decode a METAR. So here you can, learn one thing in depth and make sure that you use it in two places at least. RT examinations, meteorology examinations, both. It's the same. So when you're studying METAR right now, and if you are going to give RT, make sure you remember it with both respects. Not just MET, for RT also. So even if you clear MET, at least remember METAR and a couple of other reports, at least until the time that you clear the RT exam also. Got it? So how to decode the report? What is the format of the report? What are the different elements of report? It's just like learning what is the format of your ICAO flight plan. ICAO flight plan also has certain item numbers. Students who have done flight plan, you all know it. Students who have not done, you will know it soon. Don't worry. Even when you're filling form for your computer number and all standard formats have a sequence and there is a specific position for everything. Similarly, there is METAR. Although METAR should have been like a form only for people to understand it easily, the form things make it big, while just removing all the elements from a form and putting it in a text with just simple spaces makes it very compact and easy to transmit digitally also. Some people can do it verbally also if the digital systems are failing or something like that. But you think about it as if it's a big form and a lot of elements. So you take some time to study it. It's not going to take a lot of time, but it's a one time thing again. You do it once and you remember it for the rest of your lives. How do other people remember it? Other people remember it with practice. How would you remember it? You'll remember it with study and practice. That way it will be faster for you. Other people, as in professional pilots and all, not everybody will always know how to do it the way you will be required to give exams. But eventually they understand with practice. One day everybody will find their own sweet time where it will click. Okay, now I know everything. Can I expect you to memorize everything in 1 or 2 hours? It's impossible. So don't expect that also. But I'm giving you a good strategy. You follow that. Okay. Any questions so far? If you've got a basic understanding why we need the weather, let's finish this basic understanding why we need the weather to decide if the wind component is not too bad for us to go ahead with the departure. Okay. If the other conditions are not going to impact my aircraft performance. So the performance is the third. I could say performance is the other element wherein, the length of the runway that you have and the length of the runway that you need should be the same. What could change it? Humidity could change it. Temperature could change it. Certain weather elements could change it. Why? Because these engines, they will work on nothing but fuel, which will be fixed for you, although the fuel will also be impacted by the density of the air. But more than that, the aircraft requires air mass. And that air mass should be dry. It should not be saturated. So that's where your humidity comes into place. Rain will have a lot of liquid. Air will always be there, but I just need air. What gives me thrust in a jet engine? Okay, what gives me thrust in a jet engine is a very good fuel and air mixture. I need this air. What happens if I don't get this air? I will need more time on the runway before I could take off. Because my aircraft will not be able to generate the thrust to gain the lift. Everything is related to each other. So you, as a pilot, have to be aware about that also. Sometimes you will get questions on a humid day, would you require a shorter length of the runway or a longer length of a runway for the same engine settings? So you understand if a humidity is going to reduce the air mass, same engine settings, you'll need a longer runway. Simple. Like that. You will tend to develop this other students, whoever is just studying in today. Don't worry. What else could be there in the reports? Any suggestions? Any inputs? Put it in the chat box or discuss it out loud. Neha, what do you think? Prerit, what do you think comes to your mind?
Temperature.
Wind speed.
Temperature. Say again, Neha.
Wind speed, sir.
Wind speed. So wind direction is one factor, and the speed at which wind is coming is also a factor because that speed either increases or decreases our ground speed or the speed of the aircraft also. Yes, very good. What else? Likhit, Jyotsna, Usaid, Prerit, think about it.
So dew point.
Dew point is basically that temperature where we know air is going to get completely saturated. Yeah. Neha, I think Neha sets a date and time. Of course, date and time of the report, as in when was the weather studied, the elements of weather studied, when weather studied for, because the weather will keep changing, right? So, yeah, that could be one more element. Okay, fine. Name of the aerodrome, we could say, is will also be a part so that we know, okay, this is for this aerodrome only. Generally, the name of the aerodrome will be through ICAO location designators only, students. Students who have done RT, you all know it. Students who have not done it, you will get to know it. Don't worry. What else? What else? Think about it. Juliet Yankee Oscar, you can text a few points. See, I want to see if you can recall anything. Usaid, anything on your mind? So we have inputs.
The person you have called is speaking to someone else. You can wait.
Pressure, air pressure, certain type of Q codes are associated with pressure. So yeah, what Q code have, what is the prevailing pressure? Density could be one of the factors, probably. Yeah, so everything can be a factor. We need to know these things. That's it. So generally, when you do METAR, you get a something like you can say table of contents of important elements in metrology. Now it's a reverse thing that you could do to master your preparation for metrology. Once again, huh? Okay. So generally, you can be asked questions as simple as what is the full form of METAR? What is the duration of METAR? Or what are the meaning of different codes in a METAR? Three elements are more than enough. The most important element would be the third element. What are these different elements in METAR? They could talk about anything. They could give you any code and ask you the meaning for it. That is where you might need extra time to study and prepare. That's it. So we get that out of our way because the codes are very common. Once you do it for METAR, for other reports, you will see that the codes are not very different. I'll share the screen. Please do not be in a rush. Nicely sit and enjoy the session. We're just getting started. You know how it is. We start slow and then we increase the pace. We have a good week ahead. It's going to be very productive for us. So when you are in a class, you be in a class nicely. How much ever you understand, you don't understand, we have strategies. Put it in the parking lot, right? Education cannot be rushed beyond a certain point. We all have experienced it. We try. We realize, okay, sometimes we have to study a few things to clear papers. No running away from that. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I hope we are smiling and we are happy when we are learning, students. It helps us learn a little more. प्रेरित सीरियस लग रहे हो Nice, nice smile. Very good. I hope Neha is smiling. Likit, I've hardly seen Likit smile, but Likit, your recent results are, I'm sure, made you smile a lot. And Nukul, of course, कंप्यूटर नंबर आ गया तो कितनी खुशी है मैंने देखी अच्छा लग रहा है good and I'm also sure Jyotsna is also very happy and smiling right now. उसैद का नहीं पता मेरे को उसैद क्या चल रहा है उसैद तो इतना हंस रहा है कि आंखों में से आंसू आ रहे हैं उसके उसने स्माइली भेजा है आई डोंट नो इफ यू ऑल कैन सी इट उसैद क्या फनी लग रहा है आपको इतना हाँ जोक मार रहे हैं हम लोग हम पे हंस रहे हो आप I have this habit of uh, laughing out loud when I'm very happy. So some people, especially people you meet, new people, like those people are like, why are you laughing at me? This is exactly what I'm doing to Sad right now. So I have to tell you, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just so happy that my smile is looking like a laughter. But people will not believe us, right? They'll only believe what they have to believe. I'm like, it's okay. So what's the full form for METAR? Anyone? Anyone can give me the answer? For anyone who's thinking the date between lecture 14, lecture 13 and lecture 14, why is there so much of gap? Like, don't worry.
So aerodrome met report.
Very important, word to word, we are going to go ahead. Okay. Aerodrome met report, Neha is saying, sounds right. Topic to do is METAR. Just don't rush mentally, okay, when you're learning this. Otherwise, you'll only get half things. It has happened with me also. So I'm explaining that it happens with everyone. What is METAR? Basically, METAR is a way to get meteorological information. Okay. What are the different modes of meteorological information? So there are two ways. You gather information and then you provide information. When you talk about gathering information, you can gather information through meteorological watch offices. Right, students? There are MWOs. A very important term. Whenever I write MET, it means meteorology. Generally, meteorology spelling is confusing. So meteorology is what I have devised to remember. Meteorology. Call it meteorology, of course. So what are MWOs? Are meteorological watch offices. Generally, they keep a lookout on the weather and provide information. And information is passed down from one to another to finally to the air traffic controllers and the pilots. All right. So there are a few more agencies involved which you should, at least acquaint yourself with once or twice, if not more. Okay. 1 second, students. So METAR is one such thing which is the most common way of informing pilots about the aerodrome weather. So the keywords are three parts. The first is MET, second is A, and third is R. Remember, every question carries 2 marks. We are not going to take anything for granted. Whatever I'm giving you here, in meteorology, these things have to be verbatim, students. There's no going about it. Although learning can be organic, but our capacity to answer has to be verbatim in these cases. So what is this MET standing for, A standing for, and R standing for? Obvious, sir? It's very obvious, of course. But it is important you know the full form. So MET stands for meteorological, of course. Meteorological. So the report is based upon meteorology. Okay, meteorological. A stands for aerodrome. So it is for that particular aerodrome. And I say aerodrome, it is the airport, the entire airport. And R stands for report. So METAR is one such report. We cannot say anything else. But when we say METARs, it becomes multiples of the report, nothing else. Because the weather will change, so will be the reports changing again and again, again and again. And of course, then there would be types also. If there are types, then we'll see what are the types. Okay. What does the METAR contain? What do you think it contains? A very simple point. A METAR contains coded messages related to the actual weather conditions at any or at a given aerodrome. So we will say the keywords are very important with respect to options in the exam also now. Although we know what the information they carry, but if you'll see there will be three options in the exam, all three might sound alike. What would be the most appropriate answer would be the one that would have most of the keywords from this statement. Simple. METAR contains coded messages. So nowhere is the word information used here. In case you get three options and one of the options has, I'm saying this once for these few examples, then you'll get a habit of it of cracking exams also. Coded messages. If one of the three options has these keywords, not all, and makes sense, then you go with it. If all of those don't have much of keywords, all of have common words like info, 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 then you look for other keywords. It's like that. Okay. Coded messages related to, in one of the textbooks, it's written as pertaining. So pertaining is just an English word that is related to. Actual. Actual means real time, students. Weather. They don't call it environment, they don't call it atmosphere. Actual weather conditions. Very important. This is of ultimate importance to any pilot. Forecast is fine. Previous is fine. What is happening actually is what I need to know. If my departure is going to be after a couple of hours or so in future, then forecast is good for me. Even then, right now I'll take a forecast. Forecast means the weather that we are predicting will happen, but it might not happen like that also. So even though you will have certain forecasts, by the time you reach that point, you will always need a actual information of the weather conditions. That you will get through the METAR only. So you'll always check the present time, and you should know how to check the time in the METAR report, the code for time, and the date. Month is always the same, so you don't need to worry about the month. So if today is 20, if you get a meteorological report, you should be looking out for the 20th day and then the time, and your time should match that time. And then you know, this is my METAR. If you see present time is 1600 in your METAR, you see the time was 1300. Then if you know the issue interval of every METAR, irrespective of whether the weather changes or not, then you'll be like, oh, this METAR is old. I need actual METAR. It will be like that. So what is the time validity where you get a new METAR is also important concern that I'll share with you right now. Okay. So coded messages relating to actual weather conditions at a given aerodrome. So every aerodrome will have a specific METAR issued at regular intervals. No two aerodromes can have common METAR, students. It's even though the weather conditions are same, they will not have common weather METAR. So now you know there is a dedicated team that will be making and releasing METAR regularly for a definite specific aerodrome. So let's say if you're, let's talk about India, and let's say you're somewhere in the coastal aerodromes, Goa or maybe Chennai or Trivandrum, then depending upon the season, you might have similar features in those aerodromes. Somebody who is in the centrally located areas, hilly areas or lower areas, chances are, but still every airport will have their own METAR. So that's why actual weather conditions at a given aerodrome are the keywords, and the keywords are coded messages. So we call it a message, but it's a report. And you can always consider it to also be something like a form with a lot of details. But this is just for our understanding. We should not use the form thing in explaining it to someone else outside, because they might not have the flexibility of thinking in wide variety of perspectives like we do. So we need to stick to keywords when talking about these questions and answers in our vivas for RT Part 2 or interviews or exam questions. But learning should be nice. Okay. Let's take an example. I'll be giving a textbook example only, so that when you're going to give a read to through the textbooks, you get some common terms. Okay. But these are realistic. Okay. Example. So whatever report you have, because I said there are multiple more reports, I was going to ask this question to one of you all, but I'm like, it's fine. Questions and all will do after a couple of lectures on this topic, or like couple of lectures in this week. So the METAR would look like this. The first word would explain it's a METAR. Okay. What is METAR? Meteorological Aerodrome Report. What is METAR? Meteorological Aerodrome Report. Very important, students. 2 marks. Easy 2 marks. I wish it was this simple, you know. Then it will have codes. The first set of codes is your ICAO location indicator or ICAO location designator used to denote aerodromes all across the globe. Students who don't know, who haven't studied RT, you will learn it in RT, but if you want to do a quick read, do let me know. I'll share relevant notes with you. You could just read and understand. So this here denotes Mumbai Aerodrome. Okay. Then let's say this is how it's starting. What does it mean? Here, it would mean it's the 9th day of the present month. I just need to logically be aware which month it is. This is something I have to make sure I know. This is one thing METAR is not going to give me. Okay. So it means 9th day of the month, January, today's date. 1600 will be hours and 00 will be minutes. Like this. So I'm just starting to give you in sequence how the report looks like. Okay. It's nothing, just coded messages like this. Mumbai Aerodrome location designator, this one is. This is the day of the month, they say. Now, isn't day of the month and date one and the same thing, students? Correct, right? But in the exams, you have to mark day of the month, not date, if day of the month also exists in the options along with date. If only date exists, day of the month doesn't exist in all the options, then you could go ahead with date. Are you getting me, students? So we have a suggestion from Jyotsna. METAR can be issued half hourly or hourly. Very good. Good guess. Good share, I would say, not guess. Here, this thing in the end means Zulu time. Zulu is a code. Anyway, Z stands for Zulu in RT, right? So RT as in aviation English, we could say radio telephony. So this time is in UTC. UTC full form is, who can tell me UTC full form? Is it Universal Time Coordinated?
Coordinated.
आगे बताओ नुकुल.
Coordinated universal time.
Coordinated.
या कौन बोल रहा था वो? सही बोल रहे
Sir, Usher.
हो. शायद सही बोल रहे हो आप. Coordinated Universal Time. This is one confusion we could always have, students. It says UTC, but it starts with CUT. Remember, UTC is cut, nothing else. Coordinated Universal Time. A very important question with respect to navigation also, RT also, MET also. Regs also, I guess. This UTC is as same as GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. What is Greenwich Mean Time? Greenwich Mean Time is local mean time LMT at Greenwich. I call it Greenwich. The British people just say it a little slightly differently. Now, this Greenwich is a place from where the prime meridian actually passes. The reference of time, day and night. You learn that in navigation if you haven't yet already done it. So understand these basic things. Where do you think the paper setters and examiners and moderators will get questions from? They would try to get it from the most minutest of thing possible because they want to see your logic, you know. They want to see if you have really studied every important element or not. That's it. It doesn't make it difficult or impossible. It's just that it requires a correct strategy. Continuing our report, these three elements make sense. This message that a pilot has got. Let's say I'm a pilot, I'm sitting with the navigation computer in on board the aircraft, like let's say this side there somewhere, and I get this message out, or maybe somebody gives it to me in print. Okay, I get it. So the first thing I can directly make out what I've got is METAR. Simple. For which aerodrome? Mumbai aerodrome. The reporting or the mention or the code used is ICAO designator code for aerodromes. So this is the keyword, ICAO designator. We also call them location indicators. There are 4-letter codes. Remember. Day of the month, time in hours and minutes. Zulu stands for UTC, that is Coordinated Universal Time. Only if I remember cut, it comes quickly to me. Otherwise, I'm also sometimes, okay, is it Coordinated Time Universal? Then I try to change it more. But if I remember cut, it will not happen with me. So far, it looks easy because everybody knows, oh, aerodrome code, oh, time, day, looks easy. Similarly, all elements will be easy once we know about the elements. Then the next element that I would want to add would be a 3-digit element. Let's say 180. Okay. Now, I was talking about wind. In my example, the wind was coming from 045. In this example, the wind is coming from 180, 3 digits. It stands for direction of the wind. So this I will say wind direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wind direction aspect and take it in the next line. But understand in your in your uh in your report, everything can go till the page ends. Probably an A4 size page is the universal size we are using generally. Like this, like this, like this. Then whatever cannot be put will come down, down, down. So you have to follow a linear sequence like this, as if it's a railway track, like that. Okay. So we are going in sequence right now. But I'm not going to give a 1, 2, 3 numbers because they are not numbered like that. Okay. So once we break down this, then in the end, you can just write the whole code, whole coded message METAR in one go and understand, okay, so this is how it looks like. Indirect. Right now, we are not looking directly at it because I don't want to induce any sort of panic. It's like that. I want to just teach you one thing at a time and master that thing, and you'll see, wow, sir, I didn't only learn METAR, but I also learned a lot about other things also. Wow. And I'm like, yes, I like that you are looking at it from that perspective because that's the strategy. So my wind direction, it means wind is coming from magnetic direction 180. But is it really magnetic direction in this case? Or is it true direction? Now, this is a very important point for us to answer. What will you choose as a guess? Will it be magnetic direction or will it be true direction to determine the wind direction?
True direction.
Likhit is saying true direction. Very good.
Sir, it would be magnetic direction.
See, generally, when we are flying in air, the winds that we take are the magnetic directions wind. Okay. But right now in a METAR, the wind direction is measured is true. Okay. Remember that. True direction. Students who don't know directions, you will learn it in navigation. Keep this in the parking lot. If you don't know, or if you cannot recall. In degrees, true. Okay. And this will be always rounded off to the nearest 10 degrees. Just like runway naming. For example, if I say my wind direction or wind is coming from 174. Okay. So what is the nearest rounding off? I can either round it off to 170 or I can round it off to 180. Only two possibilities to round it off. So learn this rounding off. It is important in all places, in all subjects in navigation, in CPL studies. So here, which is the nearest? Rounding off to 10 means 170 also has 70, that is tens. 180 also has 80 as in tens, whole numbers. Which is the nearest one? 170 is the nearest one in this case. If the wind is coming from 174, true. If the wind was coming from 176, true, then which would be the nearest rounded off value? 180. Like that. Got it? So in this case, although the report has 180, but probably the wind is anywhere between, coming from anywhere between 176 to, correction, 176 to 180. It could be any one value out of these. Now, such logical questions also I've sometimes seen students being subjected to. Right? So if they can give you an option like this, just saying, if I would have been a moderator, I wanted to just make the exam very difficult yet very easy. What would I have done? I would have said, in a METAR, if the wind direction is given as 180, what is the actual wind value? Okay. And then I would tell you option A, option B, option C, 176, 177, 178, like this. You'll be like, sir, ये कोई formula है क्या? मैंने नहीं सीखा ये formula. I'll be like, formula नहीं यार, यहाँ पे एक लाइन पड़ी थी ना, पर नहीं वहां से पूछ लिया यार इन्होंने. अच्छा सर, वो लाइन कौन सी लाइन? अरे ये लाइन मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो लगा ये नॉर्मल है. ये ऐसे ही करते हैं, क्या करें हम लोग? वी हैव टू बी अलर्ट नाउ. So what would be the correct option as per this? I could say, I don't know, I'd go reverse. I would say nearest. I would say probably this is the most correct answer here. This would something the moderator would set as. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Although all three answers are correct as per this definition, but the most appropriate answer is 178 right now. Strange, very unlikely to happen, but if we have this logic, it's good for us in the long run. One second. Huh? Any questions so far? Jyotsna, you're coming with good answers. Usad, 174 was 170, 176 becomes that. 175, if somebody's thinking, sir, what about 175? What do you think? 175. I think it will go to what, 170 or 180? What do we learn in navigation? RT, runway naming, students? Think about it. .175 onwards, I think will go to can go to 180, and 174 decimal 9er point up to, like, not decimal 9er in terms of directions, but yeah, 180 seems more probable there. But the next element of your METAR is not just wind direction, okay, but you also get wind speed. Wind speed, how much do you think average wind speed is, students? It could be 5 nautical miles per hour. It could be 10 nautical miles per hour, 20, 30, 40, 50. During thunderstorms and bad weather conditions, the wind speeds could be up to 150 knots also. What is knots? Nautical miles per hour. How much is nautical mile, students? 1 nautical mile. Okay, I should not write it here. 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.85 kilometers. 1 knots is equal to 1 nautical mile per hour, like this. In aviation, distances and speeds are measured in knots, and so is in shipping, like maritime. Okay. So wind speed, very important element for me. Wind speed could be given to me with respect to the unit knots. But what wind speed? The wind speed will keep changing. So I'll get the average speed of the wind measured across certain duration of minutes and hours. How much is that average? That average is taken over a 10 minute period. Okay, 1010. So the wind speed, I could say that I'm getting what, let's say 10 knots. We can take an example right now. So I would say 180, 10, because everything will generally be in black ink for you. Somebody who's not trained will think 18010 is one complete information. Somebody who's trained, he or she will know 180 is wind direction, 10 is the wind speed in knots. But this is not the complete Group. So if I'm talking about grouping, this is one group of letters individual. This is one group of letters individual like this. Okay. I hope everyone's with me. Okay. Push yourself a little bit, students. Just getting warmed up. Sometimes the wind. So this is wind speed here. Wind speed, which is a mean measured at 10-minute intervals. Very important point, students. Okay. 10-minute intervals or a 10-minute period. Use the word period here. Better. So they will measure the wind for 10 minutes. It's not intervals, it's period. And then they'll take the average. So let's say from now, 1615 to 1625, they'll measure the wind and then they'll take the average of that wind and give us that average in our MET. Mean means average. Okay. Everybody with me? But sometimes, although this is the average speed, the aerodrome might be facing, okay, the aerodrome might be facing sudden increase in wind. But that sudden increase can come and go anytime. So we should be prepared for that sudden gust of wind also. Gust. So most of the times when wind is being reported to you, sometimes they'll also say, oh, this is the average wind, but it is reaching a maximum value also. Not every now and then. So that maximum we could say is the gust value. Gust as in sudden increase in our existing pace. Okay. So that gust is represented by G. And there is a rule that we need to follow for this gust. What is that rule? If wind gust is 10 knots more than the wind speed, that is the mean, gust G, that is gust, is mentioned. Now people will ask you, or exams will ask you, when is G mentioned? So they'll say, as per this METAR or this part of the METAR, say the correct statements true or false, whatever. They could say, if the wind speed is 15 knots and it's gusting at 20 knots, will you add G? You will say if the mean is 15 and gusting maximum is 20, then the difference is only 5. So G will not be there in the METAR. Like this. Are you following everyone, students? Especially Neha, Jyotsna, Likit, and Ushad. Are you following? So at least a 10 knot difference should be there between your mean speed and your gusting speed. Only then gusting will be there, otherwise gusting will not be there. Got it? So maybe they have some performance related impact is what you could think right now, that probably what I know is my speed, and if the speed increases by 10 knots or more of the wind, it could impact my performance. So it's important for the pilot to know about it, especially before departure. Similar things will be applicable during your arrival and landings also. But right now, these reports and all we can consider would be more related to your pre-departure information given to the pilots. That is gust. And then they would give you the value of the gusting value of the speed also. Okay. So of course, it could be like this. KT, not KTS. KT will be the unit for knots. So now this total combination here becomes one set of another batch of information here. So how many batches of information do we have so far? We have the time, day of the month, time in hours and minutes, Zulu. Next, we have wind. Wind direction in true degrees, rounded off to the nearest 10 degrees. Wind speed. And if the wind speed is mean speed measured at a 10-minute period, and if the wind gust is more than 10 knots compared to the mean, then the G will be there and the gust value will also be there mentioned in knots. So far. Easy, right? Only one more element I will cover of this report today for this session. And I'll tell you the importance, how the exam questions could be. Ushad, you have a question? Tell me.
सर गश तो सर एवरेज से हमेशा ही बड़ा होगा सो
But
तो हमेशा
रिपोर्ट में वो तभी आएगा जब वो एवरेज से 10 नॉट से बड़ा है तो ही. अगर गस्ट 10 नॉट से छोटा है, सपोज मेरी एवरेज 10 नॉट्स है और गस्ट सिर्फ 15 नॉट पे आ रही है मुझे, लाइक टोटल वैल्यू, तो 5 का ही डिफरेंस हो गया, तो वो मेटार में नहीं आएगा.
ओके ओके थैंक यू सर.
मोस्ट वेलकम. यही पूछ रहे थे ना आप?
या सर.
Students who don't understand Hindi, if you want me to translate what I just said in Hindi, feel free to ask, okay? I can do that, retranslate it in English. I don't know much of southern languages, vocal, but Maharashtrian languages I can speak, Gujarati I can speak, Punjabi a little bit, not much. Rajasthani I can speak. Himachali and all are basic Hindi only, right? Not depth ones. Nepali also a little bit, not in depth. I don't know. Bengali, I don't know. Orissa, those languages I cannot speak. Malayalam also I cannot speak. The next element that we have, okay, is something where a new thing is going to be introduced to you. Okay. The next element I can say is the element related to visibility. Okay. Now, remember there are two types of visibilities. I said one will be the aerodrome visibility overall, and then the next would be RVR. So right now we are not talking RVR, we're talking about the basic visibility. The visibility will have a variety of information here, okay? So the visibility will have certain units also, okay? And I would say that, you know, the unit that we have to use, like I was discussing earlier, could be in meters, thousands of meters, of course. But before I can give you that, there is one more thing I would want you to add. Add in the element of your wind. Okay. Now we know this next batch of sequences was with respect to wind. But sometimes the direction of wind could vary. The direction will not just be coming always from 180 degrees. Chances are the direction could vary from couple of more parts. So let's say if I'm focused, I'm pointing my aircraft nose completely north. This is for my north. Then wind 180 is coming from behind. But the direction of wind if it is varying by more than 60 degrees, as in if sometime the wind actually also the changing and it's coming from 180 minus 60, it'll be 120 degrees or more, or this side 180 plus 60, 240. So if the wind is variable with respect to directions, then I have to add that also in my report, or I have to be on the lookout when I'm reading on the report that, okay, wind is not just coming from this, although this is the major direction, but the wind is also varying between this side and this side because this was the wind. If I say wind is coming from north, then I could have seen if the wind is varying in directions of more than 60 degrees, then I have to mention that particular code also about the wind. But that comes in a next batch after this. But it is also related to the wind only. Okay. So the code is V. V stands for variable wind. Okay. Or we call it variability. Okay. Remember, if the wind direction has changed for more than 60 degrees, then we will write V between the two extremes. Okay, so if my present wind is 180, what would be the two extremes? 180 minus 60, 180 plus 60. Or whatever the variation in direction is more than 60. It could be 70, it could be 80. If it is varying 80 degrees, 80 degrees, so 180 minus 80, 180 plus 80. That also I'll write in the code. It's that important, students. All right? Following everyone? So in this example, we can say the code will be, we can say minimum and maximum extremes. So I could tell you, let me give you a working example. V stands for variability of wind. What is variability of wind? If wind direction changes by 60 degrees or more, okay, in the last, that is preceding 10 minutes. So the 60 degrees is not necessarily before and after, it could be overall also. Okay. So they will give you the extreme. What was the lesser direction? The lesser direction could be 180 also, and the more could be 240 also. Or it could be that 180 is somewhere in between, not exactly in the center, but the variation is more than 60 degrees. So you have to compare the two extremes. In this case, the two extremes, we see 120 to 240, there is almost 80 plus, what do you think? 120 and 240, right? So 120 plus 80 is 200 plus 40. So you have 120-degree variation in the wind direction. Although the average was 180, you have 180-degree variation. So the minimum was two extremes, lower and upper, in respect to the directional value only. In direction, there is no minimum or maximum. Just in terms of numbers, we are saying this. So this is how you have to understand. If 60 degrees or more, don't always think that it will be 60 minus and 60 plus. Okay. Otherwise, what I said earlier could make you feel always it's like that. And such options will always be there in the exam for you to make a mistake and mark them as correct answers. So it could be like this also. 140 to 240. Still I see there is 100-degree variation. So variability will be there. If it is 180 to 240, 60 degrees variation is there. So even this could be mentioned. 180 to 240. So 180 to 240 are the two extremes. So wind has a variability. This will also be mentioned along with your wind. Are you getting me, students? Got it? If it's less than 60, the variability part, this part will completely be skipped. Less than 60, it will be skipped. It will not be there at all. So after your wind, direction, gust, speed, even if gust is there or not, you could just see that the next information will be there. So some METAR reports could be lengthy, some METAR reports could be less. Don't judge it by the number of characters. Got it? Are you sure, students? Is it getting too much? 1 hour, 30 minutes? The first 30 minutes were just discussions. Look at yourself. Everybody is tired. It happens to the best of us. I'm just saying, it happens to me also, of course. So we have a question. In variable, is wind also should be more than 3 knots? So this is, when I say variability, this V is only use the keyword to remember it's directional variability. So when I say it's directional variability, it will only talk about variation in direction 60 degrees or more. Okay. So no, we are not using speed right now, but will come if any such limitation is there, then it will be subject to certain conditions. Not right now. This variability is only directional variability. Make sure everybody is writing this down. This is directional variability. Only if the wind direction changes by 60 degrees or more over a period of the last 10 minutes or preceding 10 minutes. So we'll write the two extremes with V in picture in center. Okay. Note in this part only. Here, so it's not, it's here, it's only 60 degrees right now. 60 degrees or more in the last preceding 10 minutes, V will be in between the two extremes. So right now we know first extreme is 180, the next is 240. It is what it is, like this, whatever the report will tell us. Okay. You write one more note here. If no wind, if there is no wind, many a times you'll see there is no wind. Okay, no problem. We can fly no wind also. It's okay. So what? Then there is also one code to be used. No wind. Okay, any answers, suggestions? No wind. No wind will indicate 000 knot. No direction, no speed. Nil wind. No wind as in nil wind. Second note you write, very important. If wind direction cannot be determined, if wind direction cannot be determined, if we cannot determine the direction for any reason, okay, cannot be determined or defined, the codes Victor Romeo Bravo, VRB, Victor Romeo Bravo, And this stands for variable. Remember that. It means changes. This is different from directional variability. Variable will replace the direction. These are two important points. So some of the METARs you would come across, you will see VRB written. So if VRB is written, you know that wind speed is correction, wind direction is variable. But remember, if there is nil wind, 0,000 knots, then the variability will not be there only. Because no wind, so what variability are we talking about? Or what VRB also we are talking about? So that way the coded information or message will be shorter overall. Wind speed, can it be said as calm wind? We have a question. No, we will not say that. When we say calm wind, it means it would be a wind without gusts. We could say that. Nil wind, we won't say calm wind. But if we students, if you come across any such statement where you have read this, then share with me, okay? So that we could discuss why and what I'm saying. If you say, no, sir, you're wrong, I've read it somewhere, then show me the reference. Let's discuss. I could be wrong, let's check. Why not? It would be a healthy discussion. So your first part of learning METAR is done. First part. This first part is the most significant part of your METAR. So if anybody tells you what are the significant parts of METAR, what you have studied are significant parts of the METAR. Okay? Significant parts of the METAR are generally coded as alpha to hotel, A to H. Okay? These are the codes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. What is A? What is B? What is C? The name of the report itself is A. I am writing all these in red. This is A. Name of the report. Significant part of the report. METAR, A to H. Remember that. Very important parts with respect to exams. A is nothing but the name of the report. Bravo is nothing but your location designator for the particular aerodrome. Charlie is the date and time. We can call it the date and time group. Okay, it's a group. So C is, we have a name, date and time group. You never know, what keywords they use in the exam. Okay. Delta, D stands for direction. Okay. But the direction is for the wind. So we say the last parts are wind information. So what is delta? This much is delta. Direction of the wind. Wind speed is echo. Whether it's gusting or not is the foxtrot element, F. And the value of the gust is the golf element, G. And then if there is a variability element, directional variability, then the final becomes H. This. These are the significant parts of a METAR, A to H. Please take some time and try to remember them and make a note of them. What are the significant parts of a METAR? A to H. But what are they? A, name of the report, METAR. B, aerodrome location designator. Charlie, the date and time group. Delta, direction of wind. From delta onwards till hotel, you have the wind information. So I could say delta to hotel is wind information like this. While this is time, date and time group, aerodrome, and the name of the report like this I'm getting. But here I have subdivisions. D, E, F, G are sub like this, and then variability is sub like this. There will be space between these two. So overall, if I have to give you the report in writing now, then my report will be like this. METAR, VABB. Date, what is today's date? 09er. And what is the time we had taken? 1600 Zulu. Although we had taken local mean time, but the time is in Zulu. So let's assume it was Zulu time. Although my Zulu time would have been 5 hours 30 minutes minus 1600 in this case. Okay, so don't be confused, sir. Mera apne 1600 liya, but apne Zulu le liya. No, these are just hypothetical examples. So A is done, B is done, C is done, D, E, F, G, H. D is the direction of the wind. What was it? 180. E is the speed. See, I'm remembering right now. I need to know. If I know the elements, I can just read the report and determine what is what, what is what, what is what. In RT Part 2 Viva, they can give you a report and ask you to decode it also. You know, that could be the turning point, the last question or the one question that would make the difference whether you pass Part 2 or not. Like that. Some students get it, not all. 180 delta echo is speed. What was our wind speed? 10, is it? Yeah. Was my speed gusting? Yes. What was my gust speed? 2-3 knots. So I have D, E, F, G. I need to know the students. This is what you'll have to memorize. Okay. Then do I have directional variability? Probably yes. What was my directional variability? Let's take this as 170 in this case. 170 and 240. Like this. So we'll say the directional variability is from between 170 to whatever I have taken here, to 40. This is H. These are the significant parts of a METAR. A METAR has more information going ahead, which we'll pick up in tomorrow's session. Before that, I'll be sharing a couple of charts with y'all. I would want you to make a copy of those charts. You can make a table in your notes only, but on a separate paper where you could access it easily when you're decoding a METAR. Otherwise, it will be too difficult to memorize them directly. You want, you can take a printout also, keep it handy, keep it, with a paper clip in your notes. Or why go out and waste time and money in prints? You could just make the table in a fresh piece of paper only. Keep a picture clicked in your phone so that you can easily access it from the phone also, maybe the spare sheet also, maybe in your notes also. That way, going ahead, it will be very easy for you to decode by looking at the table. Okay, this is the meaning, this is the meaning, this is the meaning. Initially, you start like that. Slowly, you will be able to memorize it. Are you getting me? So I'll be emailing it to y'all or over WhatsApp, whatever I feel saves time. And then you can do that. So one important point about METAR, which Jyotsna mentioned, but I have not yet disclosed that to the time, is the intervals of METAR. When are they issued? So write down. So the first part of a METAR is looking like this, okay? Here, this is how it would look like. I'll just show you the other significant parts once again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. You do it twice, thrice, it sticks with you. Good. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, study it again, it will be solid in your mind then. When is METAR issued? We would say usually it is issued every half hour. During aerodrome operating hours. There are certain aerodromes, they don't operate 24/7. So those times when the aerodrome is not on, METAR will also not be issued. So usually every half hour is what you'll remember right now. Got it? Take a quick look. The way we have studied, the revision has happened, of course. We did introduce MWO, Meteorological Watch Offices. Keep it aside, we'll come there again in description. You'll know about them. The full form, Meteorological Aerodrome Report. MET-AR, Meteorological Aerodrome Report. MET-AR. What are the significant parts? A to H. A starts with the name of METAR itself. METAR, METAR. Very obvious. But if we don't know, then we might not be able to mark the correct answer, students. Correct? What kind of ICAO designator we are using? We call it the 4-letter ICAO designator. That is the entire term. Although it's obvious all these location designators are 4-letter codes. But for someone doing meteorology, they might not expect the meteorological student to have this info from RT or navigation. So 4-letter ICAO designators. We have a question that TAF is a part of METAR or not. TAF is an aerodrome forecast. So sometimes it could be attached and sent to you in one report also, probably. Maybe not, maybe separate. We'll see that. Once we master METAR, afterwards it will be very easy for us to crack all the other reports also. So keep that in your parking lot. What other questions we have? Yeah. We have that nil wind thing. Calm wind, which is less than 1 knot, is reported as 0 knots. See, if you with this statement, what they are meaning to say is calm wind is not 0 wind. If the speed of the wind is less than 1 knots, and if it is not gusting, it means it is calm. So if the wind speed is less than 1 knots, and if it's not gusting, it's just stable like that, then it can be considered as nil wind. So the keyword here is not calm and 0 knots. Here is when the wind speed is less than 1 knots, and if that is calm, then we can consider that as 0 knots. But there also, they will not even worry about the direction. That's why they say 0 knots in the wind element. Is that clear? The difference here? Now, the other thing that could happen, what if the wind speed is 2 knots, but the wind is calm? Can I consider it to be nil wind? No. So calm wind doesn't really mean nil wind. Just that when the wind speed is less than 1 knots and it's calm, it can be considered as nil wind. Remember this point, everyone. It's a good point discussed by one of our students. If the wind speed is less than 1 knots and the wind is calm, then it could be considered as nil wind. And in the METAR, it will be reported as 00000 KT. That is knots. Write it down, everyone. I'm not writing it right now. You make sure you write it down. When you are in lecture, forget everything else about the world. This should be your escape zone, students. Never be in a rush to leave the class. You might miss out on some golden elements while we are going, and we might not be discussing that again. So if you don't get that chart, remind me over WhatsApp, our messaging platform that we are using, WhatsApp, so that I'll send it to you. Okay. So I will take your leave and we'll continue tomorrow from where we are leaving. Make sure before that you have made that cheat sheet, I would call it. Okay. If you want to take a print, I don't mind, but I would say you just make yourself only. and keep it in two places, keep it in a separate sheet, or at least click a picture in your phone so that you can access it. You don't have to flip pages if you have multiple devices to lecture attend. If not, make a sheet, get a Xerox copy like that. But make sure if you're noting it down in your own handwriting that you don't make any errors. It should be verbatim the way it is. And then learning other parts would be much more easier for us. All right. Give me some time, maybe an hour or so before I do that, okay? At least. After that, remind me if you don't get it. Let me click your picture once. At least I have to send it to you all. 1 second. Huh? 1 second. Don't leave. Usaid, what's your question?
आईटी के एग्जाम्स की डेट्स क्या होंगी, कोई आइडिया है?
आएगी थोड़े दिन में आ जाएगी.
आपको कुछ आइडिया होगा सर, इस वजह से पूछ रहा हूँ. नहीं वैसे कि क्या होता है.
आइडिया तो शेड्यूल में दिया आपको. टेंटेटिव एग्जाम डेट क्या है? 15 फेब दिया ना आप लोगों को.
सर 6 दिया
6 फेब. तो 6 फेब से 9 मार्च तक चलेगी एग्जाम. सो पकड़ के
9
चलो.
मार्च. ओके सर.
पकड़ के चलो उस हिसाब से, है ना?
यस सर.
गुड क्वेश्चन. उस वो लोग WPC इज वेरी थरो विद दीज. सो जो भी टेंटेटिव है ना, उसके हिसाब से अगर आपको लग रहा है से लेट टू लेट कितना होगा स्टार्टिंग
Yes, sir.
डेट, तो लेट टू लेट 9 फरवरी भी हो सकती है, 15 फरवरी भी हो सकती है. स्टार्टिंग डेट बोल रहा हूँ मैं. और 20 फरवरी भी हो सकती है. अभी उसका हम श्योरली नहीं बोल सकते, बट उससे ज्यादा लेट तो होगा ही नहीं. पहला दिन पहली एग्जाम का जनरली हमने देखा है 17-18 के आसपास होती है, बट जनरली टेंटेटिव डेट्स भी मैच हो जाती हैं. तो अर्लीस्ट 5 पकड़ के चलो. लेटेस्ट फर्स्ट डे जो आपका चांस आ सकता है वो 10-12 पकड़ के चलो. फिलहाल उससे ज्यादा टाइम नहीं है, ऐसे सोच के तैयारी करना है.
ठीक सर.
है ना? चलो
Okay.
ठीक है. चलो. So I'll take your leave, students. One day at
Thank
a
you, sir.
time. Build your mental stamina. Anything you need extra apart from this, just drop me a message. Anything that you need me to do differently to help you train better, let me know and we'll do that. जितना पढ़ा रहा हूँ उतना अच्छे से पढ़ लो, आपके लिए इनफ होगा स्टूडेंट्स. उसके अलावा कुछ चाहिए मुझे बताना है. But we have to be on the same tangent. Just talking to me nicely and doing something differently might not help you get the results. Before taking any decisions, filling forms, whatsoever, discuss that with me once, at least take some advice or keep me in the loop so I could do some extra thing and make sure you're ready by the exam time before it's too late. Forget about the past, focus on today and tomorrow, one day at a time. That's it. We all have our definite goals right now. We have that in mind. We will achieve them. I'm there 24/7 right now. Okay? Chalo. See you, students. Thank you for being a nice class.
Yes, sir.
Most welcome.
Thank you, sir.